Hello everyone, Northwestern here and welcome to another route speed build video. So, I did one of these in last July, for Vickerstown Station, and it's about time I did another one. So today I'm building Crovan's Gate, both the station and the shed/yards. It's kind of one of those projects that I always knew was going to be quite a difficult one, but one that would have a lot of use because if you look at like a lot of narrow gauge stuff, Crovan's Gate sheds is kind of like the most important location. Like a lot of Season 4 takes place there. And Crovan's Gate is also just a really nice mainline station. Like the reference picture that I'm using for this, it's just really a really nice station. Like the station building's really nice. It just has nice vibes, you know. That's kind of what I wanted to go for. And like with the Vickerstown one, these outsides aren't like too completely filled in. They're kind of a bit empty. But I'm definitely making sure to think of route building very much as an ongoing process. Like I have the original dates that I started the routes, and I think it's important to like kind of preserve that just to track my progress, because I do think I have improved since Lower Sudbury, at least a bit. And Lower Sudbury was like my first proper, well, that was when I started doing Trainz routes like more often. But yeah, it's good to kind of keep in mind like how I made them at the time, but also keep updating them. Like, this is actually the second recording I've done of this video. Before, I recorded it on Easter, but now the Firebird 13's iOS came out, and so like for example, Tidmouth Bay, there was a new Maithwaite asset, a new Marin Canopy asset, and a new castle asset. I already swapped out the station building and the canopy, but I'm gonna have to go back in and like edit the castle a bit, just because the new castle asset's much bigger than the old one. So just like kind of like, even though that route's 2 years old, still going back in and updating it and keeping it up to date, while also like preserving the way it was. Not necessarily as like a route you can use, but like just in the form of like the original screenshots, which is in the route showcase video itself. So yeah, as you can see, Crovan's Gate is definitely a very complicated location. It has a ton of tracks, and at first I almost like tried to cut out the third track going through the station, because if you've ever like used that asset, that specific asset, you know that it's pretty narrow, whereas like in the TV series there's plenty of space in there, so that's not really a problem. But eventually I did end up putting all 3 tracks in and like kind of keeping it accurate. This yard bit was extremely like pretty painful. You'll probably see in the speed build that I built the points leading into it like 3 separate times, and there's one point where I just like completely delete everything. It looks kind of funny. But you might notice that, actually I don't know how noticeable it is, but this speed build is slightly faster than the other one, because the other one was at 1000% or 10 times as fast, whereas this one's at 1500%, so 15 times as fast as the live footage. That's because at 10%, or 10 times as fast, the speed build was like 43 minutes long, and I was like, that's kind of a bit long. I want to keep it around the same length as the Vickerstown one, even though the route took longer in terms of like recording time. So I've sped it up a little bit more, and just looking at the footage now, it's still like comprehensible. It's not too fast. If you're watching this on a TV or something, it might be bad. And I do know that like some people watch videos like this on TV, so I don't know. But yeah, so that's like kind of the basic shape of the yard. It is actually too long, but it's okay. It's like kind of impossible to get right anyway. What I have works. If I tried to shrink it down anymore, maybe it would be more accurate, but it's working okay. And yeah, like I mentioned, this is actually the second time I'm recording this voiceover because a lot of, well, some stuff happened in between. So in the original, I talked about how about 2 months ago, I got a DM with an offer asking me to join, at the time, Tar Studios, now Sudrium Railways. And of course I accepted because I was like, that's cool, I want to be able to release routes on the Trainz site. And then just today, like literally like 3 hours ago as of recording this, I got another message from McBuns also asking me to join. So by the time this video comes out, or maybe soon after this video is out, there should be, my route should be up on McBun. Sudrium Railways. I think at the moment Vickerston and Wellsworth are up on there. I don't have access to the site, so I can't add the others. I'm not sure when they're being put up. But yeah, I think I've definitely come quite a long way from like when I first posted Lower Sudbury, which was 2 years ago in TSI. And now the fact that I've actually been asked to help out with 2 different Trainz sites so far this year, which is really cool. I think, yeah, and I've gotten a lot more involved in the community, which kind of brings me on to another topic, which is the Falcon Falters. So I think it was December, I got, well, I didn't get anything this time. This time it was kind of me reaching out. So Sovereign, who you should subscribe to, there'll be a link in the description to him, posted on his channel asking if anyone wanted to help him work on his series, and I commented saying that I would because I've been following it for a little bit and I like the Falcon Falters, and obviously there's kind of a lot of similarities between it and Firebird. I think it was definitely one of like kind of inspiration, as well as like some stuff from Harwin, the Harwin saga, but I won't go too much into that. But yeah, so I'm helping out making these routes and making routes for the series. And because part of it is like Firebird and the Falcon Falters have a lot in common in terms of like, just in terms of that they're based in their age engines and especially Proteus and stuff. So there's a lot of things that I could like, there are a lot of routes that I would be making anyway. Like this route, for example, Crovan's Gate, is one that's going to be extremely useful to both. There's that deleting I was talking about. So it's just kind of extra purpose. And there's also, the same thing kind of applies to the Old Iron Bridge route, which is probably pretty much my best route that I've ever made. So yeah, it's just kind of helpful because most of these routes, I want to be able to actually use them, make them for a purpose, because that's like just a good use of time really. Well, I mean, I haven't always done that, like Timoth Bay and Timoth Hold I literally just made because I wanted to. Same with Lower Sudbury. But stuff like Kelsthorpe and the Church Run By were made for Reconnect and the Church Run By A Season of Love. Because at the end of the day, my priority is still like making videos. But I do actually find the idea of releasing routes like pretty appealing. Like having other people be able to use them and stuff. I sometimes see screenshots and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my route. And it's actually great to see, especially when it's like a location that not a lot of people have made, like Timoth Bay. And it was actually like, it was kind of fun when I was like the first one to get the Timoth Holt station route out after Handful Macaroni's Timoth Holt asset. for like a little bit, people were using my one. That was fun. But yeah, I want to be able to release the stuff I've made and like just generally interact more with the community, because even though my 5-year anniversary is coming up and my 5-year channel anniversary video, which is a Tomy video as I've mentioned in community posts, is coming out, I haven't actually done, my only contributions to the fandom have really just been uploading videos. So it's great to be able to like do other things as well. So one of the other things that's happened recently is that I upgraded to Trainz 22. I definitely thought it was about time, especially since it's been a bit since that game came out. I don't know when the next Trainz is coming out or if there'll be like a next version. But basically now I have access to more camera modes like the walk and drone cameras, which are especially useful. And I also have access to being able to switch between surveyor and driver in like 1 second just by pressing Control F1 and Control F2, which is also super helpful. And also I got Riley's advanced camera and spotlight assets from Gumroad, which I'll also link in the description because they're only $5 each and I highly recommend them if you make videos in Trainz, or I mean, I don't know. But I'm still trying to get used to the flying camera, especially, well, the advanced camera, not the flying camera. And you'll see at the end of this video like some test shots of it and of the route, and also the first Firebird teaser, which I uploaded like how long ago? Like 2 weeks ago. That one also uses it. It's totally like a complete game changer. Having like being able to switch game modes and the new camera modes like walk camera, being able to go really close to the ground. Basically being able to get like close-up shots of the engines like just during regular dialogue scenes without having to go into cab view and spend like 10 minutes holding down the arrow keys to move to the front of the engines. Because who knows how long I've spent doing that. So yeah, I haven't really had a chance to like, I don't really have any videos that Trainz videos that I've been working on that I have a chance to test that on. But I hopefully we'll be able to soon. So yeah, as you can see, the route's like kind of coming along a little bit now. I used a lot of wool assets basically. I used the iOS one because it just has like a very clean texture. And speaking of texturing, that's what I'm doing now. I think using like these same set of textures, well at least ballast textures, even on different parts of the island, even when it's like not necessarily super accurate to what the original set is, it kind of like gives all my stuff like a consistent style, which is what I want. I do want it to all seem like it goes together. That's kind of part of my plan of making like this kind of set of routes, or like I don't think I'm ready to make an actual iOS at this point, because I've tried that a few times and it is really hard, especially filling in like towns and stuff, and especially because when your abilities are changing, which is kind of the same problem I had when working on like AMI and stuff. Like I started it and then after a year or so it got to the point where I just couldn't really keep making it because all of the ideas were like ideas that I'd had, old ideas that weren't as good. And it's kind of a similar situation with an iOS. I think there will be a point where I'll kind of level out, like writing wise and just kind of creatively in general. Or at least I'll be able to update older parts of a route. So I think an iOS would be cool one day, but for now these individual routes are better. And I have been like kind of also occasionally doing like big ones, like the Culsort one's bigger. The Old Iron Bridge one has a few different places you can film on it. This one has plenty of locations in it. And also the added bonus that this can be pretty fun in just route building. Like last week, or not last week, the week before last week, I just spent like several days just building routes. I worked on this and Renee's tunnel, and it was really great. I could definitely do more of that. And yeah, so as you can see in the video, I should probably talk a bit more about the route. There's this narrow gauge track that it comes from both sides because I can't remember like the reasoning, but I'm just remembering, like, I just remembered vaguely from the Unlucky Tug map video from like 4 years ago that the whole thing about Crovan's Gate being a loop, or at least on the narrow gauge side. So it's just like, yeah, so the narrow gauge engines can really come in from both ways, because I don't know if that really makes much sense for there to be a track going out the other side. I don't know, but either way, it's a loop, and that part of the track isn't really decorated because, like I kind of mentioned before. But that's definitely something that I might come back to, as well as the outside standard gauge areas as well. My focus was really like the station and the sheds and like the bits that you're actually going to see. But I will definitely go back in at like various points and add in more details around the edges. Oh, and here's me going through a bajillion different assets trying to figure out what stuff that fits. It's a bit hard when a lot of stuff is just named like Shed 1, Shed 2, Shed 3. Especially since it's especially frustrating when you know there's the exact version there that you need. You just don't know which one it is. Well, I guess it's actually even worse if you don't know whether the exact one from the set is there. As always, speed trees are my best friend here, because they just look really good in my opinion. And I'm especially remembering to throw in some of the tree oak ones, because I know for a fact that those ones are seasonal. They have an autumn version, and they also have, I think, a winter version and a snow version, which is like exactly what I want. Like, I want to be able to be in the game and just click on like a time of year that's autumn, and then just have the trees all change to be orange, or like some of the trees change. I don't want to have to make like separate versions of stuff. The only unfortunate thing is the grass. A lot of the time, the grass textures that I use don't automatically get covered in snow, but the ballast does. And I mean, especially now that I can switch between driver and surveyor quickly, it's very easy to just be like, just paint, put some snow on the ground, and like cover up the grass. So it's a lot easier now. But yeah, just making things seasonal is one thing that I want. Also, like lighting. You might have noticed earlier that I put in. Actually, I haven't even built the town yet. I put some lights at the station, but I also put some in the town, like street lights, using the same ones. They actually light up. I don't think many of the actual buildings they use light up. It's something that, I mean, I have never done anything like that, so I'm sure it's pretty hard to get the lighting to work in-game. But it's something that I would like to see, just because it really adds a lot to like night scenes, to have actual lights on houses and stuff and in buildings. One thing that I haven't really done that much is like station clutter and like passengers and stuff. Part of that is also because kind of what I was talking about before, like I want to be able to just get rid of all the passengers if I don't want passengers at a platform. Maybe it's a better idea to have them in there than not, but it does take time to place down people. In the last video I mentioned that it's kind of hard putting down lots of details and stuff and knowing what to put down, and also just like it is kind of weird just putting like random stuff all over the ground. But I don't know if I've improved, but I guess that's up to you as the viewer to decide. But I'm happy with the route. This bit is a bit empty. Like this industrial area behind the sheds is kind of empty. But again, I'm kind of focusing on the stuff that's actually going to be used. And also, as you'll see in a second, this text on the screen, this is where I upgraded my game. So now everything from now on that you'll see on my channel is Trainz 22. So I guess, since this is one of the things I talked about in the last one, I should quickly mention some of the stuff that I'm planning on doing this year. So, firstly, my 5-year special. So hopefully that should be out on the actual May 4th date. Based on how I filmed it like last year. I filmed it in November. I wrote and filmed it then. Because I was like, oh, I'll get it done now and then I'll have heaps of time to edit the video. And then I didn't end up doing that. So it's not going to have anything like moving eyes or animated faces, which I would have done if I'd made it back when I was doing Tomy videos. Back around like when I started my channel, but before I switched to Trainz and started doing AMI. Or like before I started my channel. Like, it won't have that stuff, probably, unless I have time. My priority is like the music mostly, because that's like actually going to add to the atmosphere. But it's mostly done, I think. It's like over halfway edited. Because unlike Trainz stuff, it's actually like I actually filmed everything and then edited it. Like with most of my Trainz videos, I do it like shot by shot and put it in, or like I film maybe like an entire scene in Trainz and then import all the footage in. Whereas like with Tomy or Trackmaster, it's like you do actually have to film first. Like I can't just keep walking away and then going over to my computer and putting the footage in. Whereas it is actually good to do that with Trainz, or at least it's worked for me for the last however long it's been. The other thing I want to mention is that I do want to do another reshort film, because I've already done 3 of them for the last 3 years, so it makes sense to do another one this year. I actually have no idea what it's going to be about yet, but I do want to do another one. And it'll definitely be kind of a step up, because now that I have a lot more roots, I mean, obviously I made roots for the other ones, like Reflection had the Soda River Ridge and Reconnect had Cullsthorpe, and Reflection also had a ton of stuff at Cullsthorpe as well. This one, I mean, hopefully I'll be able to use some of the other stuff I've made, or I'll make some more stuff for it. But I don't really know what it's going to be about yet, so we'll have to wait and see on that. And then obviously the other big thing is Firebird, which is the movie that I've announced. I've said I'm working on it. I've filmed a version of the first scene. I've written a first draft of the script and filmed a version of the first scene, and I've worked on heaps of routes, including this one. Like this, that's why I'm making this route. In terms of like what's going on with Firebird, I have no idea when it's going to be done. I said in the description of the first teaser that I want to get it done by October next year, because that's when it'll be 10 years since I made my first Tomy video. Even if I mean, it's a terrible video. Like, it's basically incomprehensible because I was a 10-year-old. But a 10-year-old just like making up a story with like Tomy engines. But it is still my first video, and I just kept making them, and we're here today now. So I do want to do something for the 10-year anniversary of that, and Firebird seems like a really good tribute to it. I think I want to like not rush on it though. I'm not just gonna like go full out on it, at least not yet, because even now I'm still thinking like, okay, well, what if I literally scrapped like half, like the entire concept of the movie of being about Proteus and Lady and just focus on Rusty and Peter Sam, because my goal is to be like, make it very like a very human movie, like about human experience and stuff, like even though the engines obviously. So I was just thinking like over the last few days, like what if I literally just got rid of all the like confirmed magic stuff with Proteus and Lady and stuff. But yeah, it's still like, I'm still like deciding things, even though I literally already wrote a first draft of an entire movie script, which is, I mean, it's the first movie script I've ever finished. Not, because I have tried to write other movie scripts before. But it's very much going to be a case of just figuring out what works and trying to do something that I'm going to be happy with, regardless of like however much that like sticks to my original pitch. Because yeah, so basically just like nothing is fixed when it comes to Firebird, and nothing is fixed when it comes to the future of this channel really. I don't want to make too many promises at this point, because I think a lot of the fun of it is coming up with new ideas for things. And if I come up with ideas for videos like a year in advance or whatever, and I'm like, okay, next year I'm gonna make this brief short film about this, and then the next year the brief short film is gonna be about this thing. I mean, I'm kind of cutting off like a lot of the fun of it, because yeah, it's fun to plan things in advance, but then when I get there, they aren't really interesting ideas anymore. And this is definitely not hating on planning. Like, I do plan out stuff, obviously, but I do want to leave some room for like changes, because fun fact, A Season of Love, I was not planning on making that video like in the slightest. That was just a video that I was like, I wasn't going to make a Christmas special or anything like that. It would have just been the end of the year, and I was going to go straight into working on Firebird after that. But then I made A Season of Love instead, and I'm glad I did that, because it was definitely worth it. Even though I think that video is a bit weirdly quiet and awkward in some places, but I could have done a bit more music for it. But I definitely improved a lot visually. Like, that's when I started doing color correction, which you might have seen that I've like been posting, if you've been seeing like the screenshots I posted and stuff, if you've seen the stuff I posted for Firebird and like A Season of Love, obviously, which is what I was talking about. I've started using some like basic color correction stuff in Premiere, and it makes like a massive difference. I think it makes it look much better. It's funny because I remember thinking like a few years ago when I was working on, what was it, like, I think it might have been like that one shot of Rheneas and I think it's Luke, that's What Friends Are For, and it's in the start of episode 10, which is what I think I originally filmed it for. Or maybe it wasn't in That's What Friends Are For, I don't know. But that one shot, and I was like thinking like, this is really cool. I don't know how I'm gonna improve from this. And yet I feel like I have improved still. And when I made Rebirth, I was like really happy with it, and I was like, but still, I look back at Rebirth and I'm like, I know there's so many problems with it, and like obviously, especially visually, I feel like I could just remake Rebirth so much better. And like, I mean, even at the end of this video, you'll see I remade the final shot of Rebirth, and like that was the one where I filmed it and the camera points up and I realized that the skybox ended, so I had to kind of like fake it, and it looked really weird. But I remade the shot at the end of this video, and it's like, it just looks way better with the advanced camera. Also, fun fact about that scene, Molly's the one pulling the trucks, because I was just thinking in my head like, okay, the magic lamp, this takes place in season 9, even though I forgot I moved it to season 5 because of the whole Duncan gets spooked thing. So yeah, I ended up cutting her out, which is sad, but I mean, I did something with her now. There's so many characters that I still haven't touched. Like, A Season of Love was my first time ever in like all of my years like doing anything with Boko. Like literally, I think I'd given him like a few lines and some other stuff that I never ended up even making. But anyway, the video is about to end soon, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.